Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson of Texas. She was my partner. It's one of the few things that's passed in the last year, and it was passed in a bipartisan way because of Kay and me working together. And now we see that we have a program that the President has for this commercial program requested $850 million in fiscal year 2012 for the commercial crew program. The House has cut it to $312 million, and the Senate, along with Kay, Barbara Mikulski, a number of others, has gotten it up to $500 million. And of course, you know the financial environment that we're dealing in. It's almost a minor miracle that NASA has not been cut more in its overall funding level in the range of close to $18 billion in this fiscal environment. And compared to other agencies, NASA has fared very well in what we have produced out of the Senate Appropriations Committee to flesh out the NASA bill that sets the course. I say the dream is alive because it is. The closing down of the Space Shuttle program was foretold in early January 2003 when we lost Columbia, because the investigation commission, the Admiral Gaiman Commission, said that you fly the space shuttle just as long as you have to build the space station and complete it, and then you replace the shuttle with a safer system. And thus, it's no secret that you see a different design, a design that harkens back to the old days with a capsule that sits on top of the rocket. The crew is not on the side of the rocket. And as a result, we have in parallel the program to take crew and cargo to and from the space station, with the competitors that we're celebrating today and another that will launch in January, rendezvous and dock with the space station to deliver cargo. Now to get these systems human-rated with the redundancies and the escape systems so that we can take human beings safely into space. But in parallel, we've got the big rocket going, because NASA can't stay stuck in low Earth orbit. NASA's got to go out and explore the heavens, which is the mission of NASA. And because of the shutdown of the Space Shuttle program, you go out on the street and ask the average American, what do you think about the space program? And they'll say, I'm so sorry it's being shut down. But folks, we're just getting it cranked up. This rocket that we celebrate today, the others that will come, the big rocket that'll take us into low Earth orbit, where we can then assemble the components of technology that is yet to be developed as we venture out into the cosmos. And at the same time, the return of the vibrance. This marks the beginning of the vibrance of the economy of the Space Coast, the return of new and exciting jobs, with vistas unknown to be explored so that we can get kids excited again, and they'll be going into engineering and mathematics and science. Ladies and gentlemen, the dream is alive. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce our 18th Lieutenant Governor from the great state of Florida, the Honorable Jennifer Carroll. Lieutenant Governor Carroll serves as the chair of Space Florida's Board of Directors, among her many other duties. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll.
Thank you. As the chairperson of Space Florida, I would like to give hearty congratulations to my president, Frank DeBello, who worked tirelessly. This deal was on and off and on and off, but between the work with NASA and Space Florida and Boeing, we're able to now craft a lease agreement and an agreement that could be placed for other projects like this as we move forward. So we had to get it right, do it right, and I think we have a great template as we move forward. Senator Nelson, 6 months ago I was in your office talking about the commercial space program, and here we are today to fruition. Thank you very much, and to our congressional members for supporting Florida and a space mission. And I'm glad to hear your commitment to moving forward, as well as the administration's commitment to providing the resources that's necessary to put into projects like this. Oftentimes when we see dollars coming in, people usually don't see the end result. And everything that we do with Space Florida, the end result is placing jobs. And as you heard, 500 jobs just with this, utilizing the intellectual capital right here at the Space Coast. Those scientists and engineers and technicians will be able to come right here and operate and work. So when we talk about the end of the shuttle program, Senator Nelson, we talk about the new beginnings. What we are looking at is making sure that we are putting things in place for the 21st century application, that we're not sitting around just waiting for someone to tell us how Florida should be crafting its space and space exploration. But we're moving forward in a proactive way in seeking out what are the new applications, what are the new vehicles, what are the new opportunities. And Deputy Administrator Garber, please tell Administrator Bolden I would no longer bother him about Project Cyrus because we're here now today. But I will find another project to bother him about. I do want to thank Director Cabana. You have been an absolutely wonderful friend and a true partner in this, and I thank you very much for your commitment and support and the hard work that you do here. To the workers on the Space Coast, you know that I want you to know that you have great ally and support in Governor Scott and I, because we are doing everything in our powers to make sure that if you want to stay and work on a Space Coast, you can do so. But most importantly, you have a great leadership team in the local elected officials and the Brevard Workforce Development Board. You guys show up. And you are so committed to making sure that the workers at the Space Coast are protected, that you are involved not only at the local level, but at the state level and the national level. So I thank you very much for your partnership and your commitment. This is the first of a kind in agreement like this between NASA and an independent board like Space Florida. And as I mentioned before, it creates a template as to how we can move forward. Hopefully other states would not follow in our footsteps, because we want to really have it and do it the best for our country. It's interesting that over 7 years ago, I was right in this very bay, but a shuttle was over my head. And it was an awe-striking moment to see such a huge and magnificent piece of machinery, and now today it's empty. But although it's empty, it creates opportunities for the new wave for our 21st century vehicle. It creates opportunities for us to partner with Space Florida, who, through NASA, received approval for managing the International Space Station for the next 10 years. So it's fitting that we have Space Florida, NASA, and Boeing at the table together so that we can look at opportunities for developing technology, equipment, sciences, and as we move forward, really bring about the manufacturing arm that will enhance the job opportunities for our state. So I want to thank everyone that's been a partner of this, plus our community, plus our local elected officials in making this happen. But you know, for our state, things like this just doesn't happen. It happens because we have a great person at the helm managing and turning the state around to be a state that's business friendly, to be a state that's common sense, to be a state that's efficient, to be a state that really recognizes opportunities for the new century, for looking at How do we develop our K through 12 system? How do we partner with our university systems? How do we create an environment that will place individuals when they go through our education system to work, and workforce that's going to be one that develops into prosperity for the future, a workforce that will be able to have a salary income and prosperity so that they can take care of their families. We have an individual at the helm of the state of Florida who came in and said, we're not going to continue status quo. We're going to turn this state around and operate it with an efficient manner, with a visionary way, with an open mind, with a collective way that we can make sure that the high tide will raise all boats. And that individual is none other than my partner, Governor Rick Scott.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's great to work with Jennifer. When we won and we came to office in January, one of the things Jennifer said is she wanted to be very involved in Space Florida, and she wanted to be responsible for Space Florida. It's something that she thinks about every day, and this is a great success for Jennifer's effort, along with other individuals, and for Space Florida. So congratulations. So it sort of gives you goosebumps standing here where the space shuttle used to be. As all of us grew up watching man go to space, then to the moon, and watch all the great things that happened with the space shuttle and the International Space Station. So it's great to be here. It's more fun to talk about the future than what we've done in the past. I want to say this is absolutely a great day for the great state of Florida and for space exploration worldwide. Congratulations to Boeing. We're very appreciative that Boeing is doing this for Space Florida. What Frank's done and his absolute commitment to what the Kennedy Space Center is doing, what NASA's doing. I want to thank Senator Nelson and Senator Rubio, the entire delegation. Especially I want to thank Senator Nelson's tireless efforts on this program, and Congressman Bill Posey and Congresswoman Sandy Adams. It's all this entire group up here. This would not be happening, and this isn't happening anyplace else in the country. It's happening here, and it's because of their commitment to making something happen. And thank goodness that's going on, especially when we've lost the manned or the space shuttle program. So. Florida's commitment to being the best place in the nation to do business is clearly sticking in the minds of private sector companies looking to start up or expand in our state. And as you probably know, we are, I think, number 2 this year in job creation in the country. And in the month of September, we were the number 1 state for private sector job creation in the entire country. So congratulations. Today's announcement is evidence of this and shows that Florida has the world-class facilities and workforce expertise we need. On top of that, I want to be very thankful to Senate President Mike Herodopoulos and to Speaker Dean Cannon and the entire delegation for their absolute commitment to making sure we had the funding for Space Florida. And as you can see, we have a lot of great programs in the state, public-private partnerships, and these work. And this money has been well spent. And I think we have a lot of thanks to Frank for that. So the creation of 550 aerospace jobs is great news for both the advancement of the space industry here in Florida and the talented Florida engineers and scientists will have an opportunity for a good job. Linking up Florida's brilliant space minds with a private company like Boeing, who sees the business advantages of Florida and wants to invest here, is the #1 way we're going to recover jobs lost from the retirement of the space shuttle program. In Florida, we understand that it is the private business, is the private sector, private businesses like Boeing, not the government, who creates jobs and a prosperous economy. The space transportation systems being developed by private companies like Boeing, like this one, will rocket us back to the forefront of the space industry and help reignite job growth. Florida has 5 decades of leadership in the space industry, which makes our state the logical place for the next phase of space travel and exploration. I applaud Boeing and Space Florida for their efforts to bring this project to fruition and encourage more private companies like Boeing to take advantage of the built-in talent of Florida's Space Coast. So finally, congratulations to everybody here. to Space Florida,